Hi everyone, today I would be giving you some information on business analysts and data analysts. So most of us we would have come across this role, and though this role seems to be little bit confusing to each other, still there are some certain differences and similarities between these two roles. So let us look at these two roles and their differences. So initially starting off, who is a data analyst? A data analyst collects, cleans and analyzes data sets to help solve problems and derive answers to various problems. So imagine the company you work in, they have a certain business issue. So they need to find what is the cause for that certain problem. So at that time, the data analyst using data, it can be internal or external data, it can be even open source data. So using this data, they will be able to process the data and bring out some insights from this data. So basically that's what the analysts do. So once they have some insights, they visualize these insights and bring it to the knowledge of the stakeholders. The next one is a business analyst. So what a business analyst does? A business analyst acts as a bridge between the IT, that is a project team, and the business stakeholders. So they work closely with these teams in order to understand various business processes, services, products, etc., in order to implement the most efficient business solutions. So unless the business analyst comes to know, they come to have certain set of domain knowledge, they come to know what is the business processes, services, products, and once they understand the business requirements, they keeping all this in mind, they would be able to make efficient business solutions so that to improvise the business. So looking at the skill sets of a data analyst and a business analyst, let's go with the data analyst. So when you look at the skill sets here, it's basically structured query language. It's also known as SQL. Then you have critical thinking, machine learning, data visualization, presentation skills, Microsoft Excel, Google Analytics, R or Python statistical programming. And when you look at the business analyst skill set, they should be having skill sets like oral and written communication skills, analytical thinking and problem solving, interpersonal and consultative skills, organizational skills, being detail oriented and capable of delivering a high level of accuracy, knowledge of business landscape, and also stakeholder analysis. So basically you would see that the data analyst skill set is mostly little technical, and the business analyst skill set can be a little bit of analytical with managemental skills. So looking at the responsibilities of a data analyst. So first off, they need to interpret data, analyze results using statistical techniques, and provide ongoing reports. So every time you would find the data analyst be cleaning their data, analyzing their data, and also getting reports and also visualizations in order to convey to their stakeholders. The next one is they might have to work with databases to extract data for analysis. So as I said, since data analysts, they work with data, they need data. And how do they get that data? They need the data either from an external source or for the internal company, or they should go for open source data or third party data. So be it anything, they need to work with either databases or it can be local files, Excel files, etc. Next one is they need to acquire data, as I said, from the primary or secondary data sources. Next is once they've acquired data, they should be able to identify, analyze, and interpret the trends or patterns in these complex data sets. So identifying and analyzing these different patterns and trends is what actually makes the data analyst a data analyst, because that's their key skill and the ability they have in order to bring out the story that the data is actually telling them. And once you have that, you need to be able to process data. Before doing all this, you should be able to process data, clean data using various manipulation techniques. So once you have your clean data, only then you would be able to do some analysis. Else your data is going to be unclean, it's going to be raw data, and of course it's going to affect your analysis. Once you're done with that, you need to work with stakeholders in order to ask questions, understand what requirements they have, and also later on present your findings using several visualization techniques and tools. So only when you deliver your findings to stakeholders, they would be able to understand the various causes and root causes of the problem that they are facing. So generally on a high level, these are the responsibilities you might find for every data analyst role. Looking on to the business analyst responsibilities, here the business analyst needs to understand the business requirements. They need to analyze information and document their insights and findings that they come across. They also should be able to coordinate with multiple business departments and stakeholders, as I said, to understand the business processes, services, products, and the people. Because ultimately, it's based on this information they would be able to provide efficient solutions. And lastly, they should be able to evaluate various findings and implement the best business solution by keeping in mind the business impacts and the business objectives. So, here when I say evaluate findings, sometimes it can be the findings of the data analyst that they give to the business analyst, and based on these findings, the business analyst comes up with the best business solution. So now you can see how do the data analyst and business analyst kind of, I can say like work together or depend on each other a little bit, because each one actually work with data, but the data they use is for different purposes. So you'd find that the data analyst using the data to find certain solutions to problems, and the business analyst using that finding, that which is ultimately data, so they use that finding in order to give solutions to problems. So this is the difference. Now, if you're a business analyst and you find this a little bit different, or it seems a little different from what you are doing, then here's a little information. Basically, if you're working in an IT and if you have your product that you're working on, it's also called as product business analyst responsibilities. So it's also called, you can also be called as a product analyst. So at this time, what is the responsibility of a product analyst is? The product analyst is responsible for the product. And once you have that product in hand, you should be able to perform analysis on the entire product scope, and also the target audience and the competitors of your product. Only then you would have the 360-degree information of what the product you're trying to develop, what type of solution you're giving, whether the solution is already available in the market or it's something that you have innovated. Only then you would have this information in order to understand who would be your target audience, what type of target audience are they, how should we actually satisfy their needs, what type of customers are they, whether they are technical or they are actually lay people. Accordingly, you would be able to design and mold your product in that way. Next off is you need to collaborate with customers and stakeholders and the project team to get the product ready. So you would be capturing the requirements of the product needed, and then you would be also presenting it to the stakeholders so that the stakeholders are on the same page as what you and your team are in. And also you should be able to connect with your project team in order to get the product ready. Then another task that the product analyst does is sets up execution material. So this material can be the wireframes, they can be business logics or product logics, it can be supporting documents, it can be business rules, it can be anything that actually the project team requires in order to implement the product. The next one is the product analyst tracks the progress of the product. So it can be the product analyst involves themselves daily in scrum meetings, in retrospective meetings, etc. So through this, they would be able to understand what the progress of the product is. And finally, the product analyst makes sure that testing is carried out and reports certain feedbacks based on UAT, which is actually user acceptance testing. So once the product analyst performs this testing and is sure that everything is well, aligned with the objectives and requirements, then the product is moved out to the customers for the release. So this is the basic, responsibilities of a product analyst. But according to what I know, there are certain places which, mix up these two roles. You can be called as a business analyst but work as a product analyst, or it can be a little bit different. So this is a little information on a data analyst and a business analyst and also a product analyst. So I hope this information was very useful to you. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to this channel, and also do share your feedbacks. Thank you.